Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, this is going to be a reading on H1B visas because I know you're all staying up late at night to hear about H1B visas. But trust me, this is actually going to be interesting. H1B visas are the visas that allow for foreigners to do jobs in the United States, specifically high-tech jobs. This is what Elon Musk came out and started alienating himself from MAGA by saying that basically U.S. citizens aren't smart enough to do these high-tech jobs, and so we need lots of H-1B visas so we can get talent from India and China and other countries in here to do the work. And MAGA did not like that. Not even a little bit did they like that. It's also not necessarily true. I will certainly acknowledge that education in China and India is held in extremely high regards. I will also hold true that they are very strong in the math and sciences and having English as a second language, because the U.S. does not really require a second language. There's minor efforts like in the California school system about taking a few years of language like Spanish or French or something like that, but nothing like the rest of the world does with English. But we've seen what Elon does with H-1B visas, like what he did at Twitter. He basically fired everybody except the H-1B visas, and then he made those poor suckers work 16 hours a day. Because if H-1B visa holders lose their job in the United States, they get deported. And for these guys, this is the dream. This gives them the foot in the door in the United States. So it's basically indentured servitude. Fancy, highfalutin terms for slave labor. It's slave labor with pretty clothes on it or some window dressing on it, but it is what it is. And now the White House and Trump are saying how they want to put out hundreds of thousands, if not millions of H-1B visas because, frankly, American talent can't do the job, which is insulting not only to MAGA but to any person who has gone through the U.S. university systems. They're quite capable of doing the jobs. The reason why you do the H-1B visas is that you can pay these folks a lot less money and work them into the ground. It's not benevolent. Now, am I supportive of those visas? Absolutely. Why am I supportive of those visas? Because it brings in highly educated members from other cultures like China and India, Japan, other countries like that into the United States. And it's like you're bringing the best of the best, so to speak, into our country and incorporating their values into our society. And I'm not saying that we can't have poor people or impoverished people coming in. I'm not being an elitist at all with that. I think there's value in having a spectrum of people coming in. The only thing I would caution is sometimes when people come in, they want to do what's known as pulling up the ladder behind them, which is like they have the opportunity to come in and take advantage of things, and then they don't want other people to have that opportunity because now they're up here instead of being down here type of thing. And we see that more with the immigrants from Central and South America coming in, and other immigrants previous to them don't want these folks coming in because somehow, I guess it feels like it cheapens them. Regardless, MAGA's not happy. And between that, the Epstein files, Congress holding up SNAP benefits, increasing healthcare costs, this is just another real sore point with them. And I want to read on MAGA with H-1B visas and the how it's going to impact their support for this current administration. You can see the fractures there, and the more MAGA is ignored, the angrier they're going to get. They're already an angry group of people looking for somebody to blame, and Donald Trump was supposed to be their savior, and they've given him everything he could possibly want in their support. And again, their best support they can give this man pretty much is blind faith and absolute loyalty. But if they keep getting screwed on food, on healthcare, on job opportunities, these promises that Trump is going back on, there's only so much they can take before they'll wash their hands of them. Now, whether they do it vocally and demonstratively for everybody to see, or they quit the guy, it doesn't matter. The support is leaving. And they won't go supporting the Republicans because they're not fighting for them. Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to gather those people. I have a little headline here that says the Trump administration is infuriating people by gaslighting them on affordability. If you didn't hear that one, Trump was saying that things are more affordable now. And he tried to use like the Walmart Thanksgiving Day pack Costco Thanksgiving Day pack as an example. And then it was pointed out, well, the Costco Thanksgiving Day pack used to have like 21 items in it. Now it only has 15 items in it. Before it had brand names. Now it has the Kirkland brand on there. So yes, it's instead of saying it's like $100 and now it's $90. But yeah, it's $90 because there's 25% less stuff in it and they went with the generics. So if you were to reconstitute it with all the items in it and the brand names, it'd probably be 20 or 25% more expensive. But this is the gaslighting she's talking about. H1B visas. That's what we're talking about here. Come on down. This is for entertainment purposes only. Let's take a look on how MAGA is viewing the latest shift by the Trump administration on these H1B visas. Current foundation of the reading is the Queen of Cups. Oh, interesting, with the Four of Swords. Now, the Queen of Cups is keeping your emotions in check. Four of Swords is quiet contemplation. We're talking about MAGA here. Show of hands. Who here does not associate the terms quiet contemplation and keeping your emotions in check when it comes to MAGA? So I don't normally read reversals. I try to read the cards upright, but I make exceptions based on the probabilities of something. Like if I'm looking at a card of integrity versus non-integrity, and it's referring to Donald Trump and business practices, I'm going to read the non-integrity because he's in it for himself. A MAGA driven by emotions, driven by fear, driven by reactionary items. This is MAGA starting to lose their mind. They've been, you could say, they've been waiting patiently, and they keep getting. It's like having a corn on your foot and somebody's on your toe and somebody's stepping on it. They are getting mad. They're tired of waiting. They keep waiting for their day in the sun, and it's not happening. What's the challenge? Because their jobs are getting stolen. They've been lied to. They've been deceived. They've been gaslit. Seven of Swords is the cross. The lying, the deceiving, the gaslighting, the promising them things and never delivering. MAGA is going to be big mad about this. They've kept their mouths shut, so to speak, against Trump and the Republicans. They're done. They could put up with it a little bit longer, but I really don't think so. This is saying they're done. In the past, the Wheel of Fortune, they keep waiting for their turn. They keep waiting for their opportunities. They've been promised opportunities. They've given this guy support since 2015, 2016, all the way to today. I'm there for you guys. I understand you. I understand your anger. I alone can fix it. They gave him blind loyalty, and it hasn't gotten him anything. Current situation is the Page of Pentacles. This card has historically, for me, been the grift card. Trump being grifted on. And maybe they're starting to realize that all they've ever been is a grift for Donald Trump. But I think the other part to look at this is these are MAGA. And a lot of them are young men looking for financial opportunities. And they've been promised financial opportunities. Nothing's been delivered. They're tired of waiting. So I think for MAGA, it's going to be the young men that have been giving Donald Trump their fierce, loud loyalty are going to be the ones who really drive the divorce from this guy. Overarching energy is the Two of Wands. They've been waiting, they've been promised, they've been waiting, they've been promised, and nothing is coming of it. It's empty words here. And they're waiting. They've been waiting. The lesson to learn is it's kind of like they have patience and maybe they have a little more patience. The patience is running out. Somebody has got to deliver something for these folks. Outcome is the Two of Cups. It's probably still possible for Trump to save this. But when you're talking about Americans not being able to do the work, which means they're not going to get paid, and you're not capable, and we're going forward with a different plan that's going to bring foreigners into this country, you're going to start to see these the young MAGA leaving the party and coming up with with agreements outside of it. Pardon me for a moment, just pausing. That was Michelle calling me, asking me what I wanted for lunch today. I'm recording this on Friday, November 14th on my lunch break. Yeah, so with the Two of Cups there, it's like the social contract between Trump and his supporters is being broken. And once you lose these guys, it's because they've given you blind loyalty. They've given you faith. They've given you what they can give you, and you've screwed them. And again, when you've been conned, the hardest thing for somebody who's been a victim of a confidence man is to admit they've been a victim of a confidence man. Hardest thing. They would quietly leave and lick their wounds than admit to other folks that they got conned. Some aren't going to care. Some are going to be really, really angry and outraged by it. Others might be a lot more quiet. I think you might just hear a lot more quiet from this. Now, again, this is a loud, angry group, so don't expect 100% across the board, because even 10% of them can make a whole lot of noise. Is this the straw that breaks the camel's back with MAGA and Trump? For Carter. Four Cups. It may not be the straw that breaks the camel's back, but they are not happy. They've been screwed and screwed and screwed, and here we come again. These are all the broken promises. King of Swords, the Tower. Ooh. It may not be it, but it's going to be damn close. You're basically one Epstein file away from this thing totally collapsing. Nine of Swords. They're pretty much, they're at the end of their rope. They're really dissatisfied with things. They can't, Nine of Swords, this anxiety underneath them. When do we get our turn? When do you deliver? You keep telling us stuff we don't want to know. We're suffering. And central underneath it is the Tower card, the crashing down, the sudden end of things, with the King of Swords and the King of Wands underneath it. This could be, your Charlie Kirk's no longer with us, but your Charlie Kirk types, your Nick Fuentes types, your Joe Rogan types, the male podcasters that have supported Trump. When they start turning and putting out that message, you're really going to accelerate this whole process. When Trump starts losing the podcasters. I mean, this could be investigations of the Trump and the Attorney General and such things as that. Like the Epstein files being released could cause that. But I think this is the more the male leaders, if you will, that these young male MAGAs go to. when they start distancing themselves from Trump, the Trump administration, and acknowledge that they've been lied to, that's going to have a snowball effect. It won't be overnight, but it will be quick. It'll be alarmingly fast. And then all of a sudden, right now there was a news story that Trump wants the Department of Justice to investigate Democrats and business leaders named in the Epstein files because he's trying to deflect his name being all over the Epstein files. I saw an interesting TikTok today where some guy gave an analysis saying it's not necessarily Trump raping children that's going to be the problem, because apparently, and I can't even believe I'm saying this, apparently some folks on the right are trying to minimize, having sex with a 14 or 15-year-old girl isn't really pedophilia. I mean, it's not like they were tied down or something like that. You know what I mean? But isn't that exactly what Trump was accused of? I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he was accused of by by the alias Katie Johnson. It's exactly what he was accused of. But they're trying to create some daylight where they don't have to hate Trump, that type of thing. And Trump's trying to create daylight, saying, "Well, we're going to look at wealthy people. We're going to look at Democrats because we all know there's no Republicans in on this, right? Right. I'll give you what you want." And I'll just create this bubble. Oh, the other part the person was saying was, it wasn't necessarily the abuse that he did to children. It is the fact that Trump said he thought Epstein was a creep and kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago, yet their emails that were released were showing that even after Trump got elected president, he was still maintaining a social friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. Spent Thanksgiving with him on 2017. Was at his house when Ghislaine Maxwell said he wasn't. Or Ghislaine Maxwell said he wasn't. Like in 2019, trying to distance himself at that point. So, he's out there saying, "Oh, I knew the guy was a creep, I kicked him out." Yet, he still hung around with them. Last I checked, I didn't hang around with people I didn't like on Thanksgiving. Especially if they're not family. Ridiculousness. Okay, will Trump be able to get... Basically, is he going to close the barn door too late? For the animals out of the barn. Can he land on his feet with this? 5 of Swords. Knight of Swords. He's trying to. Is he going to lose them? Oh, this is the card of, all or nothing, victory and total loss. And center underneath it is the 8 of Cups. Can he get these guys back? I don't think he can. They're already leaving. He's going to try and move quick and use the Department of Justice to say, "Stay on my team." But, and what you might see is he's trying to morph this into an elite thing versus a political thing, which it is. Now, again, as I've said, the folks that you're going to see on these Epstein files are going to be, wealthy, politically connected, powerful men, mostly white. And he's going to try and take that part and vilify them for it, while at the same time trying to carve out a safety bubble for himself. And yeah, there's going to be people on there. But it's going to be from both sides of the political aisle. Pedophilia doesn't care what your political affiliation is. All right. Spirit, anything else you want us to know about MAGA with these H1B visas? And here we go. We're straight into Epstein now, right? Anything else that... oh, yeah, if I read that as the H1B visas with that, he's going to try and sell it as it's going to help the economy. But it's too late. He's destroying the economy. And the last thing these guys want to be is in a soup line while watching the U.S. import a bunch of folks from overseas to do the jobs they could be doing. Anything else you want to share with us? The anxiety is real, and it's going to bring an end. Remember, this was the underlying card for MAGA. The anxiety is real. It's going to bring an end. Queen of Wands. Let's not make this Pam Bondi, but let's make this the actions that are being thrown out there, the trial balloons being floated, are causing greater anxiety. Trump hasn't said we're going to open up hundreds of thousands of H1B visas. He's just talking about that's what they want to do. But that causes anxiety, and that causes people to want to leave, even if nothing ever happens. Ooh, a reversal. I don't normally read reversals, but we will read this as a reversal. That this is normally fighting from strategic grounds. This is failing. This is failing at strategy. This is a failing strategy. People are now going to be, as the economy goes down, as people start losing their jobs and looking for charity in there, they're not going to find it with this government. and then you've got this, it's America first, right? But now we want to bring in all these people outside of America to fill jobs that we should have given to Americans. It's the contradiction is alarming. But it hasn't stopped MAGA before, right? You give them contradictory stuff all the time. They'll twist themselves into a pretzel to accommodate that. Lesson to be learned is the Seven of Swords. You can only lie to them for so long before they pick up on it. Outcome's going to be the Ten of Cups. This is in this case, this is the false happy family, the false Republican values on this one. You're going to lose these folks. They've been sold a dream, and that dream's being stolen from them. Farmers being, having their markets destroyed and then being offered handouts. Oh, yeah. And the other thing, I want to jump in on that one. Trump has promised the tariff money to everybody. He's talking about giving $2,000 to people, $2,000 in tariff money to people. Like if they made under $100,000 or something like that, they'll get a $2,000 check for tariff money. Now, I don't know what the criteria would be, but let's say a third of the country, let's call it 100 million people would qualify. Let's just throw out a number like that, okay? 100 million makes the numbers really, really simple. 100 million times by 2,000 is 100 billion times 2. $200 billion in tariff money. I think we've taken in $20 billion in tariff money. And then that money may have to be given back too. And that tariff money has been promised to, fund the military, give them paychecks while the government was shut down. It was promised to the farmers to help bail them out of the bad financial situation they're in. It's been promised to there was some disaster or something like that. It's been promised to like 4 or 5 different groups. And now we're all supposed to get $2,000 checks. He promises it to everybody. There isn't enough money to cover all this. It's just a lie trying to placate. 2 weeks. The tariff money is his version of 2 weeks. We got this money. We'll spend it on this. We'll spend it on that. And then nobody's going to get a damn dime of it. Because nobody knows where it is. There's not like there's a tariff shelf. if you don't get the reference, Trump told folks in there, it's like, how are we going to pay for this? We'll check the tariff shelf. Tariff shelf? Yeah, go check the tariff shelf. And they went to the tariff shelf and they found the money. Oh, we found the money. It was on the tariff shelf. This guy's crazy. We're in crazy town. His health is horrific. His mental health is declining. He's starting to lose support of his most fervent followers. Epstein information is going to be released. Republicans are going to start abandoning this guy, and the American oligarchs, the tech bros, are going to try and put in their new person of power. Trump's days are numbered. He's going to be a memory within a year's time here. I really do not think this guy is going to be president in any functional capacity a year from now. And my readings have suggested that by this winter solstice, he's no longer even viable as a president, for whatever that means. We'll find out soon enough. Don't stress over this. This is just you're watching the iceberg crack and it's about to fall in the ocean. And it's going to cause calamity. And unfortunately, we're all going to suffer and have to endure this calamity. But most of us have been suffering and enduring for a while. So it's going to be a much higher fall for those who've been so supportive of him to find out that he's never cared about them. Much further fall. And it's going to be a lot more painful to them. We'll get through this. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.